Senior Moments, sponsored by the Empowering Seniors Group on News Talk KVNU, 102 FM and 610 AM.
Good morning and welcome to the Senior Moment Show. We're glad to have you back with us again for another show. This morning we're going to be visiting with Lucas Martin. He's with BRAG, which is the Bear River Association of Governments. Good morning, Lucas.
Good morning, Bruce. Happy to be here.
I'm glad you're here. We have some really important stuff to talk about with Lucas, and so I would suggest right now you get your pen and paper out because we'll share some information for contact, and you may want it as we get there. Before we do that, I should also say that my co-host, Sid, I will miss her today, but she is not here. She's got some other things going, so we're going to run solo today. But I do want to thank our sponsor, the Empowering Seniors Group, for sponsoring the show and allowing us to put this on the air to help people, hopefully like you, to understand what information and resources are out there and available and how to access them, and to do that in a way that does not solicit you, but just gives you the choice of whether or not you want to do it. And the Empowering Seniors Group, if you want to learn more about it, we do have a website that's okay, but if you want to check it out, it's empoweringseniors.info. And if you want to let us know what you'd like us to deal with as far as topics on our show, you can email us at empoweringseniors.cv, and the CV stands for Cache Valley, at gmail.com. Or you can call us or text us at 435-512-6406, and we'd be happy to hear from you and hear what you like or don't like about the show and how we can improve, because we really do want to serve our community. So, with that being said, I want to introduce everyone to Lucas Martin, who again works for BRAG, and BRAG is BRAG stands for Bear River Association of Governments, and I don't know how to classify them. They're not a government organization, are they?
So we're a good mix of things. That's a difficult question sometimes, but so you have your traditional county governments. And they provide a lot of different resources for the communities that they serve. And we're an inter-county organization. So we serve Box Elder, Cache, and Rich counties. So we are actually a county government, but we don't make policy or things like that. Instead, we're a service delivery organization. So we help provide services to those counties.
Right. And there's a lot of great services that BRAG offers, and that's part of what we're going to talk about today. And there's funding that's there available that they receive to help provide those services. There's funding that they receive to help distribute to community members who might be in need of those services or might need some money. And so there's a lot of good things that happen there with BRAG. But before we talk more about BRAG, let's learn a little bit about Lucas and what his background is. So Lucas, tell me, maybe a little bit about yourself and your professional background, and then how you came to become involved with BRAG.
Yeah, so I grew up in Idaho, but we moved to Utah State when I started dating my wife and got married. So I'm an Aggie and attended the school here. I got a degree in the personal finance, and then went back for a master's degree after that. And it's been my privilege to live here for the last 20 years. And
is your master's in finance too?
Master's in family, consumer, and human development, with an emphasis kind of consumer science. So, but it's been fantastic to live here, and it's been my privilege actually to kind of be able to utilize my degree throughout my professional career and working for different nonprofits and things in the Valley. Worked for USU as well for a time, and then started at BRAG first in their tax assistance program that we'll talk a little bit about later on today, and then now in kind of a broader role, overseeing several different programs to try and help people that are in crisis or just need a little bit of extra help. Yeah,
it's a great thing that you do, and a great thing that BRAG does, and a great application of your education, it sounds like, and being able to serve in the community. It's really awesome. Maybe let's take a 10,000-foot level look at what BRAG is all about, because as I come across people in the community, and I'll say, are you familiar with BRAG? And sometimes they know, a lot of times they don't. If people know about BRAG, it's sometimes because they have been involved in some part of BRAG. And so they know about that part of BRAG. But BRAG is really pretty broad in some of the things that it does. Let's hit on some of those key things.
Yeah, so there's 6 different core pieces to the organization. And as you mentioned, a lot of folks may have worked with Bragg in an area and not really realized it necessarily. So for example, Bragg is the area agency on aging for Box Elder, Cache, and Rich County. So they help with different programs to assist folks that are trying to live in their home still as they age, or if they have disabilities, access certain resources, veterans benefits, different things like that. And so aging is kind of one area, one component. Another component would be our weatherization department, which goes out and helps weatherize older homes and apartments to be more energy efficient and save both the owners as well as maybe the renters some additional money. We have the Human Services Department, which is the department that I'm over, and that works with homelessness, homeless prevention, utility assistance, and taxes. And then we also have our housing department, which is specifically focused on long-term rental assistance through what most people know as the Section 8 program, or Housing Choice Program. We also have an emergency home repair program that is a separate department that deals with issues that people may have, like broken water mains or leaky roofs, and then a community development and planning department that kind of helps work with cities and municipalities directly. So doing things like assisting a city with infrastructure or fire risk and things like that.
So I know a lot of the programs that are at Bragg are income qualified programs. Some of them aren't always necessarily an income qualified program, but a lot of them are. If someone's out there listening and they, of all the things that you just said, if they think, gosh, we're having some issue, the windows in our home, they're just horrible and we can't keep it warm because it's just the insulation is terrible and we don't know what to do about that. It's just too expensive for us to fix. There are resources at Bragg for things like that, and along with the other things that you talked about. Is there a general number that they would call for something like that just to get more information or start the process?
Yeah, they could just call our main line, so 435-752-7242, and just let them know what their needs are. So if they just tell us, hey, this is the challenge that I'm having, or this is the thing I need more information on, and then we'll be happy to get you in touch with the department and programs that will help.
Okay, and the website, there is a Bragg website, right?
Yes, it's just bragg.utah.gov.
And that information, the phone number would be on the website. With the website, is there an interactive portion of the website where they could type in personal information if they wanted to get more information there as well, or is that usually just with a phone call?
Yeah, absolutely. They can look at different programs that are there. There's also a portal that they can put in and identify which programs they're interested in and have someone contact them back. And then, as you mentioned, there are some direct numbers there for different programs and even some applications, if they want to, that they can download online and have ready to submit. Okay,
and so once someone does that, is the normal process for them to then come in and visit with, I don't know what the word would be, is it a counselor or a case manager?
Yeah, it can vary a little bit from program to program, but we definitely meet with an intake staff member and just kind of go through what their needs are and then make those appropriate referrals to the other departments too. So when you come and talk to us, if you're applying for the HEAP program, but we can see that you could get help from weatherization or from long-term rental assistance, then we'll be sure to connect you with all those resources and make sure you know what those options are.
It's possible they could come in and visit with 2 or 3 different departments depending on what their circumstances are then.
Yeah, absolutely.
And tell me that the main number one more time.
Yeah, it's 435-752-7242.
7242.
Yep.
I messed that up, so we'll do it again, everybody. So if I messed you up, we'll say it several times before we close our show today. We're coming up on our first break. If you're just joining us, we'd like to thank Lucas Martin for being here. He's the director of the Human Services Division or Department at Bragg. And you've been there for how long?
It'll be starting my 8th tax season in January.
A long time.
A little while.
We're going to take a quick break. We'll be right back.
Reed's Pharmacy in Hiram offers free delivery service 5 days a week, Monday through Friday throughout the valley. Just stay home and they will deliver to you. With 25 different suppliers, they won't have the shortage that others might have. Also, with compounding and many other services, they will be able to serve all your needs. In order to stay safe and help slow the spread, please call Reed's Pharmacy in Hiram at 245-DRUG, and they will take care of you.
Did you know 10,000 baby boomers qualify for Medicare every day? Did you know that you'll start to get swamped with mail about Medicare 6 months before your 65th birthday? Did you also know it doesn't cost anything to use an insurance agent to help you navigate through all those offers? Hi, I'm Tracy Ferris with Blue Water Health Insurance. Let me help you understand all the offers you're receiving and find the plan that fits best for your situation. Call me today at 435-890-8155.
Want an inexperienced surgeon?
Okay, nurse, I'm ready for the scalpel.
How about an inexperienced airline pilot?
Ladies and gentlemen, this is your captain, and I'm terrified.
Experience matters, and we have it.
Hi, this is Sid Roeder with Achievement Realty. I am a senior real estate specialist.
I'd love to meet with you face-to-face and give you a free consultation and market analysis. Call me today at 512-6406. Then list it, sell it, and move on.
Welcome back to the Senior Moment Show. If you're just joining us today, we are talking with Lucas Martin. He's the director of the Human Services Department at Bragg. And if that doesn't mean anything to you, we're going to give you some more education on what that means and all the great programs that are available down there. We'd like to excuse my co-host Sid Roeder today. Unfortunately, she can't be with us, but I'm running solo, and we'll see if we can make it through. Lucas, just appreciate all the great things that Bragg does and the information that you've shared with us so far. Just the overview of all the things that Bragg does. Let's maybe drill down a little bit on some of the things that you're specifically responsible for. Why don't you just kind of lead us into that conversation?
Yeah, I think one of the things that a lot of people are familiar with is the HEAT program. So it's a utility assistance program, and as most of us have recognized, it's gotten a little chillier the last few days. And so the HEAT program can help provide once a year a payment, usually between $300 to $600, that can be used towards your utility bills. Usually that's going towards your gas or your electric. So for our area, that might be Logan City or Hiram City Electric, Dominion Energy, or Rocky Mountain Power. So they would apply once a year, and if you qualify, you can receive that assistance. And then that HEAT qualification can also be used to help with other programs that we offer as well.
So with that HEAT program, that's not an age-based requirement?
It's not. Anyone can apply.
So if I am living someplace and I am paying utilities, I possibly qualify for the HEAT program. And I'm assuming there's an income qualifier there?
There is. So if you've got, for example, a household of two, they could be making up to $2,289 a month and still qualify.
Each or together?
Together.
Uh-huh.
Yep. Together. So, and there's a few things we can do to subtract from that. So we can deduct, if it's earned income, about 20% of the earned income, and then if there's medical expenses, like if you had prescriptions or surgery or something that you had to pay for out of pocket, we would actually be able to deduct that from that prior month's income.
So unexpected emergency expenses that come up. Are they broader than just things like surgery? What if my car breaks down or something like that?
So it's actually just medical expenses that they'll deduct from that. But it can be something that's even expected, like a prescription or getting new glasses or something. So there are definitely times we can use those to help with the qualification.
So this would hit anything from a student, maybe a university student that might be struggling a little bit, on up to maybe an elderly person that's trying to manage a budget that's tight. And I don't know, there's been a little inflation.
Yeah, energy prices have gone up actually quite a bit, like 20% in this last couple of years. And so it's very relevant now. And as you've mentioned, a lot of our elderly listeners, they may be on fixed incomes and not have as much leeway in their budget. So this can be a great opportunity for them to get a little bit of extra assistance and also be aware of that resource and how it can help others. So
the application for the HEAT program, how does that work? Is that a phone call? Do they come in to visit with somebody? Do they need to visit with somebody? Is it all online, or how does that happen?
Yeah, there's actually a bunch of different ways they can do it. So we have paper applications for folks that works best for. They're welcome to come into the office for a face-to-face appointment. If they provide certain information, we can finish the rest off by the phone. And in instances where maybe they're homebound, they're not able to get out because of medical reasons or other challenges, we may be able to send out an outreach staff member to meet with them there too. So we really try try to make every effort we can to make them available, whether it's through the internet, through email, over the phone, or in person.
So through all different circumstances. Yes. Okay. Does HEAT stand for something?
It's the Home Energy Assistance Target.
Home Energy Assistance Target. The funding from that comes from where?
It's federal funding. Yeah, it is federal funding. And part of it is the target idea is there's different groups that actually get a little bit of a bonus. And one of those groups is elderly. So elderly, families that have children 5 and younger, and also those who have a disability.
Do you guys, it's interesting to me because you tend to think of a federally funded program, and sometimes those monies are just gobbled up right away and they're gone. But I've noticed with some of the brag programs that sometimes they're left over. Yeah. They don't even all get used. Does that happen with this?
Yeah, so the HEAT program it's a state pool of funding, and in the 8 years I've been involved with the program, I have not ever seen it run out of money. So I'm less concerned about it running out than maybe folks who need the assistance not knowing about it and not getting the help. And so it's definitely more about an outreach. We can serve more than are currently being served.
Yeah, so that's the purpose of hopefully what we're doing here today, to make people aware. So if you're listening and you are either yourself or of somebody who could benefit from something like this, just a hand up to get through a rough time. This program really can help with that. And do they just, you mentioned it's a lump sum, right? They get one check, and so do they come in and do they have to provide their historical HEAT bills, or how does that work?
It's a great question. So on the application, we'll look at the previous month's income. So if they apply in December, we're going to look at their income from November. We'll look at their medical bills from November, and then we'll want to get their utility bills from November as well. And so we don't need a whole year's worth or anything, just that previous month. And we'll use that information to determine if they're income eligible. And then they'll tell us, if they are eligible, how they want the money distributed. They can send it all to one of the utilities, or they can break it up a little bit between the two. And so, if they're a smart consumer and they're able to make that last for several months, that's fantastic. Like you said, it's a lump sum. It can make a credit on the account, and they can use it for as long as they need.
Is the check written to them, or is it written to the utility company? And do they, so let's just say Dominion Energy, or gas, or whatever they are. Yeah. Do they just give the whole thing to them and have a credit balance at that point, or is it written to their name, or how does that work?
Yeah, it's generally it goes to the utility provider. So there's always some rare circumstances where things can be different. Like if someone's getting camp oil and they have like propane or something, right? There may be a different way we approach some of those to make sure that they're paid. But the goal was to get the funding to the utility provider so that they have that credit.
So if I apply for that, I might walk away with one check to the electric company, one check to the gas company, whatever, however many made sense.
And this year we actually even have a little bit of money for water. So if your city is participating in that, then you may be able to get a credit towards your water as well.
Is that the same phone number to access that, or is there another phone number for that too?
Yeah, there is a HEAT specific number. If they call 435-713-1444, they can talk directly to HEAT staff, and they'll help them understand what they need to bring to an appointment or to fill out an application and get them started.
So I'm guessing that if they call that number, or they call the main number and say, hey, I'm interested in the HEAT program, they're just going to get transferred.
They will.
That just saves them a step by calling that other number. And also on the website, that's still there?
Absolutely, yeah. And if they have questions about an application they've already submitted, again, they'd have that direct number they could reach out to and clarify.
Okay, and you oversee that program yourself, right?
That's correct.
And do you have staff that helps you with that too, or is it
Absolutely.
all you?
No.
How many people are doing that?
I think we have 8 that are working in the HEAT program. So lots of fantastic staff for sure.
Okay, good. All right, well, we're coming up on our next break, running out of time rapidly. When we come back, we'll get that information again for you if you're interested in this. But we will take a minute and be right back.
This is Mark Thurston with White Pine Funeral Services. The best time to plan is when you have time to plan. Having a pre-arranged funeral gives peace of mind for everyone involved. White Pine will customize your final wishes to fit your needs, from a traditional burial to cremation to a custom headstone. White Pine also accepts pre-arranged plans from other mortuaries, and we will absorb any transfer or revocation fees. No penalty to you. Visit whitepinefunerals.com or come and see us for more information.
White Pine Funeral Services, here when you need us most.
Hi, this is Bruce with Comfort Care. One of the ways we help loved ones stay in their home is by assisting with daily tasks. These may include bathing, meal preparation, medication reminders, and housekeeping. We even help with shopping, transportation, and errands. Most of all, we offer a trusted level of care. Let us help you live your best life possible with Comfort Care. This is Bruce, and you can call me at 754-7676. Comfort Care, 754-7676.
This is Brian Erickson for the Sunshine Minute. Each day, our nurses, CNAs, cooks and servers, housekeepers, laundry staff, music, recreation therapy teams, office staff, receptionists, and many more arrive around the clock. These heroes show up ready and willing to serve and protect our residents and clients. We are so grateful to our dedicated team. On behalf of the Board of Sunshine Terrace Foundation and our community, thank you to all of our employees for keeping us safe. We bring more to life together.
Welcome back to the Senior Moments program. We are talking with Lucas Martin today. He's the Director of Human Services at BRAG, Bear River Association of Governments, and we're learning about some of the programs that BRAG offers and to help people get through the cold times of the winter, especially if they're struggling a little bit financially. And we were talking about the heat program before we went to break. You were mentioning during the break, Lucas, that in association with qualifying for the HEAT program, that might qualify you for some other things.
Yeah, so we use that income qualification to also help families with the weatherization program. So if you're living in a home that was built more than 20 years ago, or if you're renting and the unit was built more than 20 years ago and it hasn't been weatherized since then, they may qualify for some assistance there. It doesn't cost the landlord or the owner anything, and so someone would come out and they'd take some different measurements on the home to see where you're losing heat from and what things could be done to improve the quality of that, and try to help you lower your monthly utility bills. And that's a huge opportunity.
Win for everybody.
It is, really.
Yeah, so when that happens, is that did they send a professional contractor out? Did they actually do the work, or are you, again, writing a check for something like that?
So our weatherization staff are actually certified to go out and do the inspections, the testing, and then they do most of the work themselves.
What kind of work are they doing in that? Are they replacing windows, doors? Are they putting heat barriers up? Or what do they do?
All those things, for sure. Yeah, so they would be trying to seal the home better. They may be adding ventilation to change the flow of air in the home. They might be replacing a furnace or a water heater or an air conditioner that's not energy efficient. They may be replacing windows and doors. But a lot of it's really, they're going to look to see at where you're losing the most energy in your home, and then that's where the focus is going to be. So they'll do those calculations, make a plan, present it to the homeowner, and then see how they want to proceed.
So the weatherization program, if I understand you right, could even, I think I just heard you say, if you have a poorly operating furnace or a poorly operating air conditioner, that money could come out of that program.
Yeah.
To help replace something. Do they pay the full amount of that, or do they pay a portion of it? How does that work?
So there is a maximum amount, but generally speaking, they try to make it to where all of the improvements are paid for by the weatherization program. So if there were too many things to pick from, they would say, well, which of these are the most impactful right away? Mm-hmm. And those would be the ones that the program would focus on first as part of that plan.
And again, just to emphasize, this is both if you own your home or you rent your home.
Correct.
And so if you're living in a rented location and you're cold and you're having a problem, then they can come and help even in that circumstance. You do not have to own the home.
So we would get permission from the landlord to come out and do that inspection and testing, and then we would work with them to prove that
I'm guessing
plan.
the landlord would be okay with a new furnace being installed for nothing on there.
They generally like it a lot. That's very true.
I would think so. That makes sense. Well, that's not the only thing that you do. You said you had a finance degree.
Yeah, so it's personal finance. So like budgeting, credit, debt, those types of things.
It's not necessarily directly related to tax, but it gives you some savviness when it comes to numbers, I suppose.
Yeah.
And in the VITA program is a tax prep program.
It is. So it stands for Volunteer Income Tax Assistance, and we get folks from the community, some who are, CPAs and other things, but a lot of them are just folks from every walk of life, teachers and mechanics and whoever is just interested. And we help them get IRS certified qualified to prepare taxes, and then we'll serve low-income households, folks that make around $64,000 or less a year, and preparing those returns for free.
So when you say $64,000, not to be too technical, but is that adjusted gross income for a household?
Yes. Yeah.
So if it's less than $64,000, then they would qualify for. Correct. And so we talked about this a little bit before the show today, and as you were saying, hey, we're going to do some tax prep, I was thinking, okay, it's the 1040EZ. So if your taxes are enough or easy enough to do on that form, then come on in. But that's not true. You guys actually do some relatively complex tax.
We can. I mean, we can do some basic self-employment, and obviously we can do some basic investments and things that way. If someone has a complex return, they're going to want a qualified accountant to prepare that anyway. But a lot of the listeners there, if they're just receiving Social Security, maybe some retirement income, and maybe have a side job somewhere or something,
small home business,
they're the perfect client to come in and use those services. They might only be getting a few $100s back in taxes, and so for them to go to a paid prepare might not make sense financially and time-wise, whereas we could help them for free and be able to provide that assistance.
So I'm guessing, when I hear tax, it just makes me, I have a little pit in my stomach that makes me feel sick. But so I'm not sure I'd be the best volunteer for something like this, but there are maybe people out there that might like to volunteer. How would they get in touch with you for that? And also about how many volunteers do you have?
Yeah, so we have generally anywhere from 20 to 50 volunteers a year, depending on the different sites that are open and available. And they're welcome to actually just call the main line at 752-7242 and just let them know they're interested in being a volunteer. They can say for taxes or for VITA, either's fine, and we'll get them in touch. We're actually going to start training end of December and early in January to do that. And I think it's a really impactful way for them to reach out and connect with neighbors and just serve folks of all different.
And there's software that's provided, and so it's not that difficult to do. I mean, it's you still have to prepare.
Yeah. But we have experienced preparers who are there. Every site has a site coordinator that's done it for many years, so there's always every return's double checked by somebody else.
Well, we are rapidly running out of time here, and we're not going to be able to touch anything. Why don't you just quickly tell us the other areas that you're personally responsible for?
Yeah. So we've got homeless prevention and homelessness. So again, if you have someone who who maybe is struggling, they've lost job, they've been evicted, or at risk of being evicted, we'd encourage you to have them reach out to us just at that main line and see if we can't provide some assistance to help stabilize that household. Likewise, we work with some mobility programs, and so if you have folks that don't have access to a vehicle or good transportation, we can try and help them get to doctor's appointments and meet some of those really important needs for them.
So many great services available at Bragg. If you're listening, you think, gosh, maybe they might help me, call and see if you can't access them. Number again, one more time, Lucas, is what?
435-752-7242. We'd love to hear from you.
Awesome. Thank you for being here today. Great information, hopefully helpful for our listeners. Thanks to the Empowering Seniors Group, and we'll see you next week.